Hey guys, how we doing? Aaron with Arnold's Outdoor Life. Today I'm gonna make, and actually today I'm gonna make quite a few things. I'll do separate videos for them. But right now I'm gonna work on sweet potato bark. Um, I usually last year I made sweet potato chips. They turn out really good too. But I think I'm just gonna keep with go with the bark. Um, you can eat it plain, straight dehydrated, or you can, make like a sweet potato mashed potato, or you can add it to your soups for more flavor and body. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to peel all these potatoes, chunk them up, and then we'll cook them in some salted water and let them drain. And then I add some stuff to it, like I add some either real honey. You want to use real honey, not the crappy stuff, the fake stuff. But I'm going to use agave nectar, and I'm going to put a little bit of apple cider vinegar in it too to give it a little zip, along with salt and pepper. But after I get these all cooked up, I'll show you the mixing process, and we'll get it all thrown into the dehydrator and go through steps. After a couple hours, it's depending on how thick you spread it onto your sheets. It's going to take anywhere between 5 and 8 hours. My last batch I did. Here, I'll go grab it really quick. Last batch I did, I got a little too thick, but it turns out like this. It's pretty good just eating straight. But I'll show you the process throughout the day. Like I said, if you get it real thick, it takes longer, and the thinner you get it, the less time, obviously. But when you're mixing it, you want to add as little liquid as possible, but you have to add some to get it a nice smooth consistency. But like I said, after I get this all cooked up, I'll show you the mixing process and the spreading process. We'll see you guys here in a little bit. Alright, we got the potatoes cut up, put on the stove. You want to try and get these about the same size when you cut them up, so they kind of cook about the same amount of time. I usually, when I said salted water earlier, I usually go kind of heavy on the salt. The reasoning behind that is that when your potatoes cook, they'll pick up some of that flavor. It'll bring out the flavor in the sweet potato a lot better instead of trying to add salt afterwards. Even though I will add salt when I mix it, you just won't have to add as much. But we'll get those cooked, drained, and then I'll show you how to mix them up. Alright, the sweet potatoes are done. Obviously you just check them like any potato. So now that these are done, I'm going to let these cool a little bit and drain, and we'll get them all whipped up. Get my big mixing bowl clean. I just use that for my Clif Bars. So I'll get that all cleaned up, and then we'll just mix it all together and show that process and how it looks and get it going in the dehydrator. Alright, so we got our potatoes. Now I'm just going to go ahead and dump them in here. Last time I made these, I used a blender. Works really well, but it's hard to get it all out, so I missed a bunch of it. So basically what I'm going to do is, I did 5 big sweet potatoes, so I just kind of eyeball it. I'm going to, I don't know, maybe a 1/4 cup. Get a little more high quality vinegar here. And then I'm just going to add like maybe 2 tablespoons. Now a little bit of salt and pepper. And just make it like you're going to make mashed potatoes. You can use a ricer too if you have a ricer. Alright, the less liquid you add, the less time it's going to dry, but like I was saying earlier, you want to make it so it gets really smooth. So I'm going to add just a little bit of water. Probably about a half a cup. You can add whatever you want. You can add like chicken stock if you want, or I think last time I made it, I added a little bit of apple cider. You know, whatever you want. And the advantage of doing it this way too, instead of a blender, is you can kind of taste it as it goes. You don't want to go too heavy on the salt, because it's gonna, when you dehydrate it, all that's gonna concentrate. So make sure when you taste it, you want it the flavor you want, but not as intense as what you would want if you're just gonna eat it like this. You know, I get flack sometimes from my friends and stuff that I add, you know, apple cider vinegar to some of my stuff. But it's got a lot of good properties to it. You know, it's good for your gut, it's good for your body. I like the flavor. So, whatever you want. You don't have to add the vinegar, you don't have to add the agave if you don't want to. You can add whatever you want. I mean, it's your recipe, your food, you're going to be eating it, so. A lot of recipes I see say brown sugar. I try to, it's kind of contradictory because I put brown sugar in some of my stuff too, but I try to go as little on refined sugar as I can. Alright, that should be good. I'm going to go ahead and grab my trays, and then we'll get this going in the Alright, so I have the Excalibur dehydrator. If you guys haven't seen my other videos, you know that, but you can buy silk pat type things for it, but I had some of this non-stick cooking sheet stuff laying around. This came on a big roll and I cut it. I also have some of these silicone pads that I'll use as well. I probably won't be able to fit this all on the pads that I have, but you can also use parchment paper, cut it down to size. I'll probably have to do that to finish this off, but make sure you're using parchment paper, not wax paper. The wax paper will actually melt, or the wax on the wax paper I should say, and then just turn it into regular parchment. So if you don't have these, or if you have a different dehydrator, like one of those round ones, I know they make pads and stuff for those as well. But you can also make parchment rounds easily. I mean, you can just fold them in half and cut that circle out for the middle, and then, you know, just kind of eyeball the rest of it, I suppose. I usually plop down in the middle first. Offset spatula works best for this. I used to have one years ago. I don't know what happened to it. But you're gonna look for like 1/4 inch thick. And then also you're going to kind of want to go thicker on the outsides because the outsides dry a lot faster than the inside. But anyway, you guys get the idea. I'm going to go ahead and keep battling with this, get the rest of the trays going, and get them in the dehydrator. And I'll be back in a couple hours to kind of show you what it looks like when it starts drying. Like it'll start, you can see where it's drying, and then it'll start cracking, and so on. And then, yeah, I'll show you what it looks like a little later. It's been a few hours now. Check on the sweet potato. I already rotated it once. You can see it starting to crack. It's still pretty soft though. That kind of gives you an idea what it looks like as it's drying. So I'll just go ahead and continue drying this, and like I showed you earlier, when it comes out, you know, you're going to want it, you know, completely dry. It is going to be a little soft though, just because it's warm in the dehydrator. So usually what I do is when I think it's pretty much dry, is I'll turn it off, let it sit, usually a couple hours, if not overnight. And then I come back, and if it's not completely dry, I'll let it run for another hour or so.